We are getting a new Mac Miller album in January. It's called Balloonerism and is a very special album for Mac Miller and his fans. Today, we're gonna go over why this album is dropping and what makes it so special. So, let's jump straight into this. If you want to stay up to date with everything surrounding hip-hop, make sure to subscribe and also become a part of this community by joining our Discord server in the description. Real quick, if you don't want to listen to this, make sure to skip 10 seconds into the future, but you can now sign up for my free newsletter with the first link in the description. It comes every Sunday and recaps everything that's been happening in hip-hop over the past week, so make sure to do that. So let's go over the basics. We have gotten a trailer for this album that features an animated Mac Miller in his childhood, but then quickly transforms into a very absurd trailer, very psychedelic, very abstract. It looks very Mac Miller-like. And we've also gotten the album cover for this album, which we've been knowing about for quite some time. We'll go into why in a second. But most importantly, we also got this little note, this little statement from his estate about the album. Let's go through this together real quick. Many of Malcolm's fans are aware of Balloonerism, a full-length album that Malcolm created around the time of the release of Faces in 2014. It is a project that was of great importance to Malcolm, to the extent that he commissioned artwork for it, and discussions concerning when it should be released were had regularly, though ultimately Good AM and subsequent albums ended up taking precedence. We believe the project showcases both the breadth of his musical talents and fearlessness as an artist. Given that unofficial versions of the album have circulated online for years and that releasing Balloonerism was something that Malcolm frequently expressed being important to him, we felt it most appropriate to present an official version of the project to the world. With that in mind, we're happy to announce that Balloonerism will be released on January 17th, 2025. Now, this date, January 17th, is exactly 4 years after Circles dropped in January, on January 17th of 2020. So this will mark the second posthumous full album release exactly 4 years after Circles. Of course, since then we've gotten several other posthumous releases. For example, Faces got added to streaming services, which was definitely a big one for the fans. I Love Life, Thank You got as a compilation put together, and also we've gotten The Quest as, you know, a watching movies with the sound off single on streaming as well. But Balloonerism is yet again more important because a quick history on the album. Balloonerism was created in between watching movies with the sound off and Faces, so in that 2013-2014 era, and it was originally supposed to drop instead of Faces. Faces only came around later. Balloonerism was there first. But I mean, Faces, you know, is by many considered his best work and one of the best mixtapes of all time, and with Balloonerism, from the material you can actually listen to online, it is very similar in that a lot of the work on Balloonerism actually then got translated over onto Faces. There are fan favorite songs on there. For example, the song that changed everything, that was a fan favorite for some time, $5 Pony Rides. We've gotten a whole track list that is basically the entire album and will likely also be the official track list of the album with 16 tracks. Tambourine Dream, the song that changed everything, Do You Have a Destination, Deborah Downer, Stoned, Colors and Shapes Demo, Excelsior, Friendly Hallucinations, Funny Papers, another amazing song, Mannequins, He Finally Sleeps, Transformations with Delusional Thomas, who in that era also played a very big role, that alter ego of Delusional Thomas. Uber Smiled and Tomorrow Will Never Know, and Bob's Dementia with our future artist Haji, which is a 12-minute track, which is just amazing and about death, and it just showcases Mac's talents and the work that he's done perfectly. And as I said, $5 Pony Rides or Operation Love could also be on there depending on what they choose as deluxes or bonuses or how they structure this track list. But in itself, this is going to be the track list. We can very much expect this album to contain these songs. Also, we've gotten info from Dan of ID Labs, the longtime producer and engineer of Mac, who said Mac did make an actual track list, a few actually, for Balloonerism, and pretty much all of the songs you all know as Balloonerism were made inside of a week, stemming from what was basically jam sessions. He did indeed move on from it, took a few of the songs for Faces, and never got back to it. The project itself was a real thing insofar as Mac made a few iTunes playlists about it, but it never got finished. So this is exactly the fate that I was describing. Faces was going to be the next release, and we can maybe also be very grateful that he scrapped Balloonerism and instead went for Faces. Otherwise, we wouldn't have gotten the amazing work that is Faces, but it all stems from Balloonerism. Interestingly enough, we only learned about Balloonerism in February of 2020 after the release of Circles, when we've gotten hints from people who also had material for Balloonerism that this album existed. Hence, why his estate also referenced that there is multiple versions around online. Now, if you want to listen to some of the songs, you can just search them up on YouTube. But for example, Sand1 New uploaded a couple of the tracks that, made it, and it's a pretty high quality version. So there's definitely a resource that you can go to if you want to listen to some of the songs. Now, also interestingly enough, there was a vinyl bundle page store up on his website where you could purchase the Balloonerism clear vinyl, which looks really cool, with posters, with obviously the cover art, and it immediately got taken down. So this was only up for a very short amount of time. But as you can see, it also says this is a pre-order item expected to ship immediately upon release in January 2025. So this is actually also, up in the back end, so you can expect a vinyl to drop. A vinyl for Balloonerism. Who would have thought we would ever get that? That's insane. Now, why is this getting released? Obviously, besides the fact that the estate can make money off of this, which is always a very clear incentive and shouldn't just be discussed away, we also know that this was special to Mac. We know that in that time, during watching movies with the sound of and Faces, he went through probably his most troubled times when it came to him expressing this in his music, about addiction, about trying to fit into this new lifestyle and role that he was now captured in. This is exactly the time that Faces were created in, so we can expect the same from Balloonerism. So maybe, as fans, this is one of the best portals that we have to Mac. Now, there's obviously also still this mystery going around of whether Mac told Schoolboy Q to drop all of his music if he doesn't make it, so if he dies. But this really leads back to just a joke that Mac made when they were on a fishing trip, when he said, if I don't make it back from this trip, just release all the music. So I don't think that that really ever plays a big role in posthumous releases from Mac Miller. It's still something that people throw out around. One more thing that I did want to mention is that there's a great video by Converse With Me on Balloonerism. About a year ago this was released. I don't think Converse With Me makes videos anymore, but he did an amazing job with this one. So if you want more details on the record, definitely go check that one out. So we can expect Balloonerism, Mac Miller's Lost album, to drop on January 17th, 2025. I'll of course be making more videos until then if we learn anything more about this, so make sure you stay subscribed not to miss out on that. But until then, I do want to know what y'all think about this. What do you expect from Balloonerism? Are you happy it's finally coming? What do you think the reasons were? All of those things, please let me know in the comments down below.
If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and y'all take care.